Rocket Nation. Welcome to our special COVID compliant awards ceremony with West Kentucky Conference Coach of the Year, Sean Thompson, and Rocket Assistant Coach Brian Qualls.
First, I think it's important that we give an explanation for why we're doing our banquet in this fashion. Started the year out not knowing if we were going to get football at all, and then we have all these regulations come through that we have to follow, these guidelines that we have to follow to make a season happen. And now we're at that point where basketball season's about to start, and I just thought it was more important for us, instead of having this big group of 50 players and 4 managers and 18 coaches and their families and the players' families, 2 per even. Per player, that it was important that we didn't do that. We skipped that and still find a way to honor and recognize these kids for their accomplishment this year without having a breakout from a banquet. Our goal has always been for our players to be able to have their seasons, and going into basketball season, we just thought it was important that we did it this way. So I brought Coach Qualls in with me today because I know that sometimes I get long-winded and talk a lot. So his job is to, just like on Friday night when I'm talking too much to official, to make sure I don't talk too much. And I'm going to let him say some things, But I think it's also important for Mr. Evans that we point out our COVID screen. It really is there. Coach Qualls can confirm it. For safety sake in 2021. So I'm going to start it off with just talking about some things that I'm thankful for in this season, and kind of go over the accomplishments that these kids help us obtain. First thing I'm grateful for this year is that we had a season at all. There was a time where we didn't know if we were going to have a season, and for us to get to a point where we're sitting here talking about a banquet and we never lost a game. We were never a reason a game didn't happen. And we made it through. That's something to be proud of. We came together as a community, a team, a school, and made it happen. So that's an accomplishment in itself. With COVID, the season ended up being longer. We were able to start working out June 15th or June 10th. I can't remember exactly with these kids, and we finished in December, I believe, or November. That's added time we got to spend with this team, and it was a special team. So to be able to have that added time, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the players, the time and effort and just not getting sick of it and loving the game and coming every day with a work ethic that was second to none, to get us to places that Crittenden County doesn't always do. You think about this senior class who's four-peated as district champions. I don't know if that's ever happened at Crittenden County, but that's pretty awesome. Especially when you look at teams like Russellville with so much history, tradition-rich program. To be able to four-peat in this district. I'm thankful for the community for always supporting us. They're always there, even when we limit them. For them to be with us all the way through and support that we just wanted to play, to sacrifice to be able to be at the games, the sacrifice to have to wear the mask, the sacrifice to just not do things that they've always done and be able to still support us in whatever way, whether it's watching virtually at home or, just being away so we can play. We appreciate that. I'm appreciative of the admin team at our school for always supporting us and making sure that we had a season. Vince Clark supported us from the beginning. Amanda Irving, our principal, supported from the beginning. Melissa Katermis, our assistant principal, there every Friday night, make sure our games happen. Bryce Winders, assistant athletic director, making games happen. And both the Hodges, both Shannon and Dennis, who from the beginning, whatever we can do for you guys to make it happen, we'll work a gate, always there, no questions asked. We appreciate that. I think it's important that we thank our media outlets, starting with the press. We're here in 2021. I guess I can say it. Right now, we're recording this New Year's Day. Chris Evans donated his time once again to be able to recognize these kids, these players. So we thank him and his wife, Allison, for the time that they put in with us. The radio station, Troy, Taylor, Evan, for all the time that they spend and allowing us to recognize kids and just a platform to be able to just talk about all their accomplishments and the things that they do. And then, Chris did this year the pregame shows and halftime shows with Tanner, Mike, and Ethan. Those were awesome. Just be able to stream the games for the fans who couldn't be there, and have those guys really do the play-by-play and make it feel like you were there at the game. They did a really good job. We appreciate that. I think it's important that we thank our quarterback club. It's led by Serena Dickerson and Shelly Gobin as president and vice president, and all the time that they spend. All the donors, people who give money to us, to make our seasons happen, for us to be able to get our charter buses and go to games, or for us to think that we could drive all the way across the state to Paintsville and possibly play a game, or make sure that Paintsville could come be here. Though those things didn't happen, we had people that were there to help us make sure that we had those opportunities. Obviously, we'll keep those people silent. They know who they are. But we appreciate that. Without you guys, we couldn't do the things that we do the way we do it. I want to thank Mark Williams, who sponsors everything that we do and also donates the Jumbotron to us each Friday night to be able to make the experience a party like I asked for when I took the job 3 years ago. And then Don Winters and his team for making that happen on Friday night. I want to thank the coaches and all the staff. Without the coaches, it would be difficult. They donate a lot of time. It's not some, we're not these highly paid coaches without families to make it happen. So I appreciate them and the time that they spend. I want to point out Coach Starnes and him being, taking care of us in these first few years and really helping the transition run smoothly. Supposedly that this was his last season. We'll see in a few months when it's time to get going again if that's true or not. But I appreciate him and the time that he spent in his retirement. Dwight, Frank, our video guys, I appreciate those guys for the time that they spend. Dwight Shear and Frank Pierce. They make sure that we have our film each and every Friday night. And then Nathan Boone for, always being there and doing anything that we need. I also want to say thank you to Ronnie Myers, who is not here with us anymore, but he always was and has been for years. It goes back, and having games since he's been gone, you're missing a little bit of happiness with him not there. The smile that he brought every Friday night. We miss that, and it's still tough when you think about the situation and the loss that we experienced with him. You can't replace that, what he brought to the program. So I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for Gail. All the Fridays she gave him up. And it's funny, I was thinking about that. All the Fridays that Gail gave Ronnie up, I always, before we get on the bus to go on the road, I try to go make fun of Ronnie, because Ronnie would throw jokes back at me. I remember the first time that it caught me off guard. Gail puts her window down and she's there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know Gail like that, but she just saw me being being a way I shouldn't be with her husband. I wonder what she thinks right now. But she throws jokes with the best of them. So I appreciate Gail, and hopefully that we continue to build our relationship. I want to thank my wife and my son for the time that they give up. I don't get to be dad as much during football season as I'd like to. So I'm appreciative of that, as well as all the coaches' wives and their families. I know you have a wife and daughters as well. We're just thankful for that. And then again, I'm sure I missed somebody. I'm sure I did. It happens, but we are thankful for everything that you do, everything that you bring to the program. But without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. So if I forgot your name, I'm sorry. You could be mad at me or understand that it's hard to do to sit down and write a list of everyone, who brings something to the program. But we appreciate you nonetheless. At this time, we're going to get into the awards part. Just to get this over with. Not over with, but I don't want. I've been told that at the banquets I get a little long-winded, and a lot of it's usually the thank you. So I'm done with that, and we're gonna move, and I'm gonna pass it over to Coach Qualls, who's gonna talk about the Iron Man, something that we really glossed over this year because of COVID. So this might be the first that many people are hearing about the Iron Man. So you explain what the Iron Man is and.
So every year we do the Iron Rocket Iron Man competition during our off-season training. So the kids train all off-season. Normally we start in January and we train all the way up until the dead period. And then after the dead period's over, we come back and we do our Iron Man competition. It consists of 10 different types of strength training, agility, speed, quickness, etc., etc. So they're tested on it, and then they're graded based on points. And then those points are calculated up, and we always go over our top 10 Ironman. So this year for our top 10 Ironman, in 10th place we had Bryson Baker. In 9th place we had Preston Morgeson. 8th place was Braxton Winders. 7th place was Ian Ellington. 6th place was Preston Turley. 5th place was Dylan Yates. 4th place was Caden McAllister. 3rd place was Noah McGowan. 2nd place was Tyler Boone. And our 2020 Ironman / Iron Rocket was Xander Tabor.
I mean, he's won it back-to-back years. He's a guy for us. Everybody knows Xander Tabor and the time he puts in. This offseason, he put a lot of time into building his body up and making sure that he looked a little different than he did in seasons past. And he worked really hard in the weight room just like he did on the field. So that it's hard when you talk about Xander and the Ironman and the work that he put in, and then just knowing that he didn't get to finish out his senior year. It's hard to talk about that, but congratulations to him on that. Now we're gonna move down to our JV awards. So Coach Qualls is the JV head coach, so I'm gonna let him do those, starting with the 2020 JV captain, and I must note that these awards are voted on by the players. So it's not something that we as coaches come up with. We have a vote just like they do. Each coach counts as one, but this is voted on by the players.
When it comes to JV, especially in a COVID year, we were just grateful to have JV games. So I'll add that first. If you've never went to a JV game, it's actually a pretty fun experience to watch these young guys go out there and learn. We do the exact same thing that we do on a Friday night at the JV level. That way we prepare them for anything and everything that happens at the varsity level. And we've had some pretty successful JV seasons over the past couple of years. And, I like to credit it to the players. And these awards right here is a credit to our success in the JV level. So our 2020 JV captain, as voted on by the players, is a Mr. Micah Newcomb. When you talk about Micah, I think he's a natural born leader. His fellow players follow him, and everybody just looks to him to do the right thing. And he's smart enough; he knows what everyone has to do on the field at any given time. So he's definitely deserving of that award.
For sure. Mike has been working with me since he was a fourth grader. He spent a lot of summertime with me. I look at that. I guess it's a blessing for me to have a kid who wants to put that much time into it, and it's paying off now. Finally get to see all that work that we put in the past translate to the field. So he's very deserving of that award.
We move to the next one, the most valuable JV offensive player. This is a player. I don't think he has a background in football a lot. I think last year might have been the first year he played football. I'm not for sure. But he started off kind of slow. But then once he figured out what he's capable of doing, he just broke loose and is quite impressive, actually. And I feel like he has a great future for Crittenden County, and that is Mr. Gatton Travis, running back for the JV team. And if you haven't seen him with the ball in his hand, he's quite something to watch.
Yeah, for sure. He's a guy that we're going to look forward to be making plays on Friday nights next year. So hopefully he continues to improve and is a guy that can help us out.
The last JV award that is given out is the most valuable JV defensive player. This is an older guy. He's not a freshman. But I do believe he might have had at least one pick six every JV game that we had. And he just has a natural ability to, find the football and take it to the house. And he's another guy that I look forward to seeing step up big time and contribute on a Friday night, and that's Mr. Rowan Perkins.
Yeah, Rowan's a guy that, he's been a special teams player for us on Friday nights the last few years. He's a guy that just goes all out every play. He's extremely quick, extremely fast player that just gets after it. You saw that translate. He's a sophomore. He's an older guy. He's a sophomore for us. Looking for him to continue to make plays and transition to Friday night as well. So congratulations to those guys. Coach Qualls talks about the success of the JV team. I think they've lost one game each of the last 2 years, and then have wins for days. They're doing a really good job at that level, and hopefully we continue that success because in order to have a great program, you have to have great feeders. So I appreciate him for the time and effort that he puts in because he also coaches on Friday nights. To go out on Monday and be ready for practice the next day is awesome. He also drives the bus for us to save a little money. So appreciate him for that. Next, we're going to go into the statistical awards. These are based off stats, things that we track throughout the year. Coach Qualls actually does that for the most part as well with the help of the defensive staff. I'm going to let him do these awards as well.
So the first statistical award that we talk about is the tackling points leader. And Coach Courtney and the rest of the defensive staff, they go in and they break down the film, and they go through on Saturdays and determine tackling points. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's 5 points for a solo, if I'm correct, and then 3 points for an assist?
Yep. And then 2 for a missed tackle. And -2 for missed tackle.
-2 for a missed tackle, so you get points taken off if you miss a tackle. All that's broken down, and then I put it into a spreadsheet, and we calculate the tackling points for the week. Those get tallied at the end of the year, and then we give out top 5 tackling point leaders. So this year, our 5th place tackling point leader with 168 points is Braxton Winters. 4th place with 174 points is Noah McGowan. 3rd place with 219 points is Dylan Yates. 2nd place with 276 points is Caden McAllister. And our 1st place tackling point leader with 491 tackling points for the year is Mr. Tyler Boone.
And just to put in perspective how impressive that 491 points is, one, this is a shortened season. We play 10 total games. So that's a typical regular season. And one game longer than he's ever played in a season, which is awesome for him to make it through a whole season. That was the goal. That was one of his goals. So we were able to do that. But that 491 points was over 100 points more than we had last season, the winter last season. Over 100 points more, and he did it with less games. He's a guy that plays sideline to sideline for us, and we're gonna miss that production. So that's an interesting fact on the RBI point leader.
The next statistical award is RBIs. So we give RBIs for multiple things. You get defensive RBIs, special team RBIs, offensive RBIs. Everybody gets an RBI for winning. And those are given out after every win. After everything is broken down, you get RBIs. Those are the little helmet decals that you see on the helmets, the footballs. Those are the RBIs that we give. So those are calculated up at the end of every year, and we give a top 5 for our RBI award winners. In 5th place with 41 RBIs is Braxton Winters. In 4th place with 44 RBIs is Preston Turley. 3rd place with 52 RBIs is Caden McAllister. 2nd place with a total of 60 RBIs is Dylan Yates. And 1st place with a total of 75 RBIs is Mr. Tyler Boone.
And you can see the translation is in tackling points and just being able to fly around the field. You expect that your tackling point leader is probably your RBI leader. So Tyler does so much for us and has made so many plays for us over the years. This is not a surprise to me that it totaled out this way, but again, we'll miss his production and all the things he does for us, but congratulations to him. These next 3 awards are specific awards, specific stats, starting with the 2020 Roach Award. For us, a roach is what other teams might call a pancake block, or where offensive lineman's opportunity to reward offensive lineman type, and give them guys something to really go after each play. Sometimes it gets us. Our guys are working so hard to get these roaches. We get called for holds sometimes, but our guys get after it. So we want to make sure we continue to recognize them for this. So the Roach Award, 2020 Roach Award.
The 2020 Roach Award, first, we had 25 total roaches on the year. That's a combination of all the players that play on a Friday night that have gotten a roach throughout the year. So we had 25 total. And our roach winner for the year, I'm actually kind of proud of this one because this is the first time that I'm well aware that somebody other than an offensive lineman has actually won the Roach Award, and that goes to Mr. Preston Turley with a total of 10 roaches on the year.
Now out of 25.
Out of 25. Now you say, why is that different than a lineman? Well, the majority of those come from a tight end position or a receiver position out wide, blocking out wide. So that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's getting these opportunities to play at the next level because, you see the upside, a big body, big frame that gets on you. And a lot of times when he gets on you, he's going to put you down. And he did a good job of that for us. We did a lot of bringing him in as a tight end this year and running off his butt and was successful doing that. We probably should have done it a little bit more because when he was on the edge, he really opened it up for us. No surprise, Preston Turley, the Roach Award winner 2020. The next award is the 2020 Hitman Award. And there's no surprise of who got this award. Kid just plays with passion. So go ahead.
Again, it's if you've come out and watched games on Friday nights, you can really guess who got this award. Hands down, the Hitman Award winner goes to Mr. Caden McAllister, and I'll piggyback off of what Coach Thompson said. He just plays lights out, whistle to whistle, every single play, and I feel like he puts his body on the line all the time, and he just goes out there and makes plays. So, and like I said, if you come out and watched even a half of football on a Friday night, you know that Caden McAllister is the Hitman, a winner.
Yeah. And this year we brought the Hitman chain out, the Punisher chain, something for those guys to compete with, kind of like what we do with the turnover trash can and the turnover belt. Just things that we wanted to be a more physical team. We wanted to be a more punishing team. So, you got to reward the kids for those things. And, in doing that, Caden really liked the chain, and he liked how it fit his style. So it was his goal each week to go out and make sure he got that chain. Caden McAllister, Hitman Award 2020. And moving on, transitioning to the turnover champion, 2020. Go ahead.
So we have the turnover belt buckle. It's a little different than the turnover chain, so it's a massive belt buckle that we give out every week. So, and again, the defensive staff breaks it down, and you get points based upon the type of turnover or if you helped. And so, like, you can get points for a pick six, you can get points for a fumble recovery, you can get points for just an interception, you can get points for a caused fumble, et cetera, et cetera. So those are, again, tallied up at the end of the year, and you get a turnover champion based upon the amount of points that they've had throughout the season. This year's turnover champion is, again, Mr. Caden McAllister. Seems like he has a nose for the football, and he's always there to make a play every single time.
Another guy that we're going to miss. He's made a lot of plays for us over the years, and he's earned these awards. This is all statistical based. Caden's a guy that plays with an attitude and has a nose for the football. So you expect him to get awards like this. And I appreciate all the time and leadership that he's brought over the years, because when it comes down to it, him and Tyler looking at our defense, those are guys knew it like Coach Courtney knew it. Those are guys that me being more on the offensive side of the ball, if I had a question, I could go to those guys and they could tell me, we're going to miss that leadership, but we appreciate them. All right. So now we're going to the player awards. These are the awards that are voted on by the players. And we have them in an order. It's how it's always done, or always been done. This is actually the same order that Coach Starnes used when he did his banquets. It's just easy to keep it that way. So if it is a coach's award, I will say coach's award. If everything else was voted on by the players. So these are all voted by the players outside of the coaches' awards that's tallied through coaches' votes. So first, we have the 2020 Most Improved Special Teams Player. This one's pretty easy. This guy's been first team on every team that's been put out, whether it's the WKC team, the all-purchase team. He was even an honorable mention All-State. Braxton Winders, 2020 Most Improved Special Teams Player of the Year. I think he averaged 42 yards a punt this year. He was really good at flipping the field for us. So, that's a weapon to have a guy that
Absolutely.
when you're not moving the ball or you're pinned back and you need to flip the field and change just change the game, He did that for us this year. And really and truly, he was the punter of the year before and he did a good job for us. But, there was those times where he'd put it off the side of his foot or he'd go for the fake instead. He really spent this year, buying into the what our punt team was and did a really good job and became a weapon for us. So congratulations to Braxton on that. Going to move on now to the 2020 Most Improved Offensive Player. and this went to two people. It wasn't just one. There was a tie, um, and it's two guys that I'm excited for. They both come back next year, and they're both sophomores. One being Caleb Nesbitt, and the other Preston Morgeson. These are guys that I call electric. You know, when they get the ball, that it could be a big play every time. And they're both guys that stepped up for us offensively this year as sophomores. So they're guys I look forward to, and I think they're guys that are going to be a problem for people to defend in the future. So now we are going to move to the 2020 Most Improved Defensive Player. I'll let you do this one. It's one of your boys. But it's one of my boys too. Obviously, they're all my boys. But
For the 2020 Most Improved Defensive Player, this is a player. If I think back to middle school, I'm not really for sure if he played in middle school.
he did.
He did
Yep.
play in middle school, and you know he chose not to come out his freshman year, and then he come out his sophomore year, and the growth that I've seen him take from his sophomore year to his junior year, and even through this season, is just astounding. He's grown not only as a player, but he's grown as a young man as well, and it's a pleasure to coach him on a daily basis. And I know that next year he'll continue to grow and he'll be even better. And that is Trace Darrington.
Yeah, Trace did a really good job for us, transitioning from his sophomore year just being a special teams guy who really bought in and made plays for us through special teams to a guy who ended up being one of our better guys in the secondary this year. You know, he had a knack for the ball, and he's a guy, you know, with Morgeson on the other side, he's a guy that saw the ball thrown his way a lot and had a lot of pass breakups as well as interceptions, most of which got neglected from penalties, but he just had a nose for the turnover. I'm excited about what next year brings for him. This next award is the 2020 Solid Rocket Coaches Award. So us coaches got together and voted for this award. I'll let Coach Qualls name off the recipients, but I'll read what the Solid Rocket is. The Solid Rocket is awarded to the player who, despite otherwise very little recognition, is a solid and consistent performer throughout practice and every Friday night. He is the guy who gets the job done and seldom ends up in the headlines. So I'll let Coach Qualls read those off.
And it's like Coach Thompson said in the description, you know, he gets the job done in practice and in the games all the time. And it's these two recipients. We have two recipients for this award. These two recipients do seldom end up in the headlines, but you can tell that they're on the field just by the presence that they bring and the attitude and the effort that they bring during practice and during games. And this year's recipients are Logan Bailey and Noah McGowan, and I believe it's probably two of the quieter individuals that we have on the team. These are guys that, you know, that you never hear them talk, but when you ask them to do something, they do it to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, for sure. Noah's a senior for us, played defensive end, and he's really a technician. He's a guy that, you know, practices the way he plays, and has just made a lot of plays for us the last 2 years. I'm thankful that he moved in and became a Rocket, and really represented us well. He's a kid who's committed to go play at Southwestern Missouri. At the next level, it's a D2 school that really nice program, nice facilities, great coaches, and I think that he'll go out and represent us well. So good luck to him in his future endeavors. And then you got Logan Bailey, who's a junior for us, who I guess now has 4 years now of football under his belt. Kid that moved in from Alabama and just does whatever we ask him. He's a baseball guy, but he's a football player, that's for sure. You know, I'm looking forward to what he does for us next year, or can do for us next year. Next, voted on by the players are the 2020 Rocket Football captains. I think this is probably one of the best awards you can get because you're voted on by your peers, your teammates, your family as the leaders of the team. Basically, the guys they look to when they need to know what do we do next, where do we go from here. You know, and it went to two guys that I feel like were the voice of our team. You know, the kids spoke, the players spoke. This is one that coaches we didn't have to vote on because it wouldn't have changed anything. You know, and I think that they got it right. And those two kids are Caden McAllister and Tyler Boone, which, you know, the leadership, their play, all that speaks for itself. They're guys that have been captains for us for years now, whether they got the award or not. They're guys that, you know, will miss that leadership and that play. So congratulations to those guys for the 2020 Rocket Football captains. Next, we got 2020 Most Valuable Special Teams Player. This was pretty easy. It's been a Perkins the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, however far it goes back. Between him and his brother, Noah Perkins, you know, he's special. He's consistent. I think there was a time in the year where he was chasing a record, a streak or something, and you know, just to know that when you score, you have that guaranteed point after takes a lot of pressure off of a coach, you know, and knowing that you're going to be in a good situation as far as points on the board. So his consistency and his work ethic over the years is going to be missed. We still have a Perkins, but I don't know if we have a Perkins kicker. You know, which he does kick. So, I mean, we could continue the Perkins name, but we'll see. I hate to see him go because he is pretty consistent. He's one of the most consistent things that we have on our football team. But I am going to point out that he is not just a kicker. He would want me to say that. So, he's definitely not just a kicker. All right, going to move on to the 2020 Most Valuable Linemen voted on by their peers. I'll let you have this one.
The 2020 Most Valuable Lineman, this is a guy that I coached him in middle school, and even his motor in middle school was the way it is right now. His motor never stops, and that is a very true and honest statement. Never stops. I remember it was one day last year at practice, he come to practice sick. He had a fever last year, not the COVID year, last year. And he still outworked pretty much the entire team with a fever. He had been sick all day, and he still came to practice and outworked and out-hustled and out-motored the majority of the team last year. It never stops. He's a leader in his own way, and he's going to continue to get better, and his motor will continue to strengthen. And I can't wait to see him next year go out on Friday nights and perform. And that is Mr. Dylan Yates.
Yeah, for sure. He drives our football team. He's the engine. So congratulations to him. All right. Next, we have our most valuable defensive player voted on by the players. I think there's no question on who that was this year for us. Tyler Boone, linebacker, sideline to sideline, committed to go play at Murray State and continue playing football. Made a lot of tackles for us. You know, he's the all-time leading tackler in our program's history right now. And it just the work he's put in, he deserves this award. So Tyler Boone, defensive most valuable player, voted on by his peers. Next, we have the 2020 most valuable offensive player. It's the guy for us that's been consistent really the last 3 years in the backfield. Alexander Tabor. It's funny, his peers voted him as this award recipient, only having played, I guess, just over half the season. And he still had over 700 yards rushing. He's a guy we'll miss. He's what made our offense so versatile, to be able to switch from this style offense to a power style offense, and be able to just do it all without changing the personnel. Guys like that are hard to come by. And you saw how our offense changed when he went down this season. I hate that he had a season-ending injury, but things happen for a reason, and he's showed great maturity through that process and was there supporting us the rest of the way after he went down. But the 2020 Most Valuable Offensive Player, as voted by his peers, was Xander Tabor. The next award is a coach's award. It's the 2020 Marion Feed Mill Grit Iron Award. I'll let you do this one after I read the description, Coach Qualls. It is presented to the player who shows true grit and guts by displaying courage and versatility between the sideline. He's the guy with the dirtiest uniform, bloodiest elbows, and black and blue forearms.
That description sums up this player to a T. I've had the pleasure of watching him play on Friday nights ever since I came back and coached, and he's been a mainstay on the offensive line for, I believe, going on 3 years now, if not 4 years, going back to his freshman year. And for being on the offensive line, someone could say that he's undersized, but he doesn't play that way. He plays like the biggest guy out there, and he does have the dirtiest uniform, and he is bleeding at some point in time during the course of the game, and that's Mr. Ian Ellington.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that we'll miss as well. He was a leader through his play. He gave everything that he had every play, whether it be, I should say, every rep. Whether it was practice or in a game, he gave everything that he had. And he started for us for 4 years as an undersized offensive lineman. So think of this, a freshman undersized offensive line. He started for us for 4 years. If he was undersized as a senior, what was he as a freshman? We'll miss him. But, that's you get them for so many years and then they're gone. All right, the next award, the 2020 Crittenden Press Paul E. Mick Leadership Award. This award is a coach's award as well. Is presented to the player who establishes himself as a leader and model student athlete on and off the playing field. He excels between the lines, in the classroom, and in the community. This award is named in memory of Paul E. Mick, who was a Rocket football player, football referee, and publisher of the Crittenden Press. I don't think there's any question who this award goes to. He actually received it last year, and it's Tyler Boone. But to think that he would receive this award last year as a junior and then only became a better leader as a senior with the time and effort that he put in the offseason, and going into a senior year, and just ramped it up so much more. It's hard to sit here and think, how do you replace that leadership now that he's graduated? You can't. You don't replace it. New people will step up, and how they step up. But the way he did things is the way we've been used to it for so long, and it worked. And we appreciate all that time and effort, and we got to make sure that we recognize him for it. So Tyler Boone, Paul E. Mick Leadership Award. The next award is the Greg Dozer Belt Award. This is also a coach's award, and it says, was established to recognize the player who displays a bulldozer mentality, who runs through opponents instead of around them, and who has extreme mental and physical toughness. This award is named in memory of Greg Belt, who was a Rocket football fullback. Again, another one, no question. This kid actually played fullback for us until we had to move him to running back. Caden McAllister. He's not going to go around you. He's definitely going to go through you. He just has that mentality of, I remember Greg. I guess I was a seventh grader when he passed. I never saw him play in person, but the stories that you hear, you know that Caden was that. A great representation of what his memories should be. And you know, Caden's a great player who who definitely got to run through you. You know, so when you think of his mentality and how he played football, it's only fitting that he received this award. The last award is the 2020 Most Valuable Player Award, as voted on by his peers. Yeah, this was a tight one. There's so many guys that could receive this award, but the players voted, and Tyler Boone was the most valuable player. And you know, he's been a most valuable player for us, or one of them, for 4 years now. This year he made it through the whole season and played both sides of the ball, played a lot of time on offense as well as defense, and just he left his mark every Friday night, every practice, every time we were in the weight room, every time conditioned, every time we watched film, every time we went over a scouting report, he left his mark. He made sure that this season was a success. He made sure everyone bought into everything that we had to do, and he made it easy for us as coaches. You know, when you get a leader like that, you don't have to be as great a leader as coaches, because you can allow him to do it and take ownership of the team, and the team voted, and he was the MVP. You know, I think I second their decision in this, and he's definitely deserving of the award. So I'm going to say now that this is the quickest that a Rocket football banquet has ever happened. And though it seems like it took a long time to me sitting here, I know it was quicker than if we did it in person. I can tell you that COVID has changed a lot of things that will probably stay changed forever. This is not one of them. I think this is a personal thing that should be done in person, so those kids can be recognized for what they've done, and we will go back to that as soon as we can. We just felt it was important that we didn't sacrifice our recognition or the basketball season for our recognition. So if you made it through this whole video, I appreciate you. I know I get long-winded sometimes, as Chris Evans always reminds me. I talk too much, even though I feel like I don't talk enough. That shy guy. But until next time, thank you.